Howdy. In today's video, we're going to be looking at the Supra Vandal. It is a pretty snazzy weapon, definitely one of the OGs, one of my favorites. It's not doing as hot as I was hoping after all of the different changes and updates we've got in the past few months, because I have done like 3 videos on this already, but all of them are already outdated, crippling depression, and someone asked me to do one in the Discord, so here we are updating the Supra Vandal for like the 5 billionth time. It is a pretty fun weapon that everybody should try. Definitely one of the staple weapons. For new players, I'd say the staples are like Amprex, Ignis, Plasmor, and Supra. Those are the 4 absolute must-use weapons for entertainment purposes. Now, the weapon itself is a big daddy boy LMG. It has 300 in the magazine. It's got decent fire rate. It does have a spool up, so it's not going to be at full fire rate until after a second of shooting. And it's pretty damn accurate base for the most part. It shoots projectiles, so it does not hit scan. But the projectile speed is pretty fast, so you won't really have an issue. You can tend to run out of ammo with this if you aren't careful, so an ammo mod in the Exilus slot is nice to have, though it's not necessary. I don't think I even have the Exilus unlocked. Yeah, no, I don't. Now for the stats, it has a base fire rate of 12.5, a 300 mag size, a 3-second reload, which is totally fine since it has such a humongous mag size. 16% crit chance, which is kind of bad. It's really rough. 2x crit multiplier, 30% status chance, 30 puncture, 6 slash, and 4 impact for a total of 40 damage. And I'm not sure what this second effect is right here. What is going on here? Why is there another number? Crit chance 0, 2x, 10, what? I'm so confused what that is. Anyways, we have a couple builds for this thing, and they're all just kind of okay. As far as statuses go, you can't really build slash on the weapon at base, so you of course have to go hunter munitions, but it has a big crit problem. The crit chance is really low, which means barely any slash procs, which is a really big issue on the weapon. So getting a Riven with crit chance helps this tremendously. I unfortunately sold my Riven with crit chance, crit damage to Grenier for Endo, because I was desperate for Endo and dumb, so that's sad. But it does have a dispo of 3, and Rivens for it are fairly cheap in my experience, so it shouldn't be too hard to get one if you really want to get one. I wouldn't go upfront damage on this thing like, you know, radiation, viral. Honestly, viral's not even worth running on this weapon, even if you go with hunter munitions. And we'll get to that once we get to that build. The main 3 ways I'm going to be showing it are electric, hunter mumu slash with cold and primary frostbite, and then heat damage. You can also build it for corrosive. I suppose that might also be worth showing, and it's likely the best way to use it if you aren't going to be getting armor strip slash viral from other sources in your build. Now, the first build I'm showing is electric. We have primary deadhead because electric procs can get headshots, and getting headshots and building this up and maintaining it's a lot easier than merciless. And the 30% headshot multiplier is very nice, and the negative recoil is also very nice. Prime shred for fire rate and punch through. If you don't have this, go with the normal shred. The punch through is quite nice, though I suppose with the 0.6 from rifle elementalist, you could replace this with speed trigger or vile acceleration instead. Galvanized chamber for multi-shot, critical delay and vital sense for crit chance, crit damage, galvanized scope for even more crit chance to help us get it higher than 48, high voltage stormbringer so we get status chance, and lots of electricity for electric damage, electric weighting, and electric DOT damage, rifle elementalist for a little bit more punch through, and a multiplicative damage buff to the electric procs. Very nice. The electric combined with the punch through helps give this weapon a decent bit of AoE, so it's not so single targety. We have nothing affecting our damage on our Warframe, just Hildren, and should I need to armor strip, we have Unero, grouping from Boltis, and viral from Epitaph. This weapon does have high base puncture, so we are going to get max puncture procs fairly quickly, and puncture at max procs, which is 5, gives you a pretty nice 25% flat crit chance increase. So that 48% is actually more like 73% most of the time. which does help mitigate the crit chance problem. So with the galvanized headshot mod, we are going to be able to get orange crits decently often here. Or not decent, I guess more like sometimes, right? But at least we're getting guaranteed normal crits. All right, we have most of our buffs built up. So on this guy with no other source of buffs, it's not amazing. It does struggle, but this is, of course, a pure electric build without armor strip or viral in the mix, which is something you're really going to want. So let's assume we strip their armor by, what is it? I think it should be 32.5% with what my strength is on Hildren. That's a pretty reasonable amount of armor strip to have. We did lose our crit buffs from headshots. It's already doing much more damage, of course, because even a small amount of armor strip makes a big, big difference. Let's go ahead and reload. And then once you add in viral procs, a couple, 1, 2, 3, whatever you want, this guy is 5. Now it's going to be able to do some pretty reasonable damage. Still not amazing. I wouldn't recommend this on the high end, but it is pretty good for the low end for newer players, which is really the kind of people that are going to be using this weapon. Other than electric, I am going to real quick show corrosive instead, since that is a pretty effective way of running this. If you were to run corrosive, then I would replace Stormbringer with, of course, the 60/60 toxin mod, and then you can replace rifle elementalist with galvanized aptitude perchance, maybe. If you want to really maximize your damage, I'm sure there's better, possibly much better options here, but I think that's a pretty decent one. So let's show this real quick. Simulate enemies. Big whoa. The corrosive will help our upfront damage quite a bit, though it is still going to struggle if we don't build up our stacks first, because we have no base damage on the weapon until we get a kill, because, you know, deadhead and aptitude, that's how they work. Now the damage is much better than the electric build, but again, that's because we had no general armor strip in the electric build. So getting the corrosive's 80% armor strip is obviously going to be better than the 32.5 armor strip we had from casting 1 pillage with what my Hildren is at. But if you have a source of full armor strip or even 50%, then the electric is going to be much better because it'll do more damage and it will have AoE, which is nice. But this is going to likely be your best general build for the weapon. Then next we have the I almost said viral, the slash setup, which is rough. Most of the mods are the same here. We do have galvanized aptitude for base damage and status chance. Rifle elementalist is still here, so we get maximum damage out of our slash procs. Rhyme rounds for status chance and cold, because it's nice, and primary frostbite, because this gives us multi-shot and crit damage. The multi-shot helps make it so we have a higher chance of actually getting slash on the enemy because our crit chance is so low. You could use galvanized scope, but we're not going to really get headshot kills because slash DOT can't proc headshots, so we'd only be getting the 120 crit chance, so it'd be kind of rough. The best way to fix this is to run Arcane Avenger on your Warframe, but we're not going to put that on right now. I just want to show it as is. So let's go ahead and reset these suckers. This build isn't terrible, and you are going to want viral from another source. Otherwise, run viral on the weapon, but it's much, much easier to get viral from your companion than it is to run viral on the weapon, because then we would have to give up the cold procs, which are actually nice because we can A, freeze the enemy, and B, we get the flat, or not flat, but the additive crit damage increase that comes from cold procs. So that's nice. Plus being able to run primary frostbite and actually build it up is pretty epic. So most of the time your companion, if you run any sort of decent companion, will be able to put max viral procs on them like this, and look at that. It can do damage just fine. Not as good as many other options for slash, but not the worst option in the game either. I still wouldn't recommend using it this way unless you're at least going to go for a higher crit chance. We are getting lots and lots of crits though for the most part, though part of the problem for that is how the damage numbers in this game work. I'm not using classic damage numbers, I'm using the modern damage numbers. And I think it caps out at like 20 numbers on the screen. So even though it looks like we're getting nothing but crits, that's actually not true. It prioritizes the higher damage numbers. So if I shoot slower, you can see we're getting more like those puncture procs. We're getting a lot of not critical hits. It's because we shoot so fast and our multi-shot is so high that with modern damage numbers, it gets rid of all of the damage numbers that aren't critical hits because there's so many hits going on. So don't be fooled by that. Not really much else to show with this version of the weapon. The last main way I want to show this is a heat setup. Primary merciless because it's the only thing that really works here, and it gives reload speed, which is nice, I suppose, though it is a pain to keep up. Other than that, this is sort of kind of like a flamethrower build. I like this because it's funny. It's going to be infinitely worse than like the flamethrower Latum I did. Back in the day, the play for this weapon was to run heavy caliber because it's really funny. This isn't maxed out, but it's 2 ranks away. We still have rifle elementalists for bigger heat procs, hellfire, thermite rounds. Overall, this is the exact same setup mod-wise as the electric build, except instead of Galv Scope, we've replaced it with heavy caliber. And instead of the Arcanist Deadhead, the Arcanist Merciless. It's not going to be very good, but this is going to be the most entertaining way to run the weapon because heavy caliber is so funny. The accuracy, negative accuracy, makes this weapon spray more. It's still not as good as it was back in the day, I feel like. I don't know. I guess it's probably because I don't have heavy caliber maxed, but it helps spread the shots around more. Still not optimal. I'm sure there's probably a build for this that makes it way better that I'm like forgetting off the top of my head, probably like an idiot, but this weapon struggles more than it did the last time I did a video on it. I don't know. I can't remember exactly what update that was at what point in time. Let's apply some viral procs so it's actually fair. But whatever happened since then has made this thing much harder to use against enemies that like actually take decent bits of damage. But again, as I said earlier, this is a low mastery rank weapon. It's not going to be something MR30 players usually want to use. But when you're like MR12, which is I believe what it takes to get this or use this weapon, this is actually a pretty decent option and it's really fun. Having a 300 mag size is hilarious. And if you get a Riven with like plus mag size and then you slap on the primed mod for mag size, you can get this thing to some ludicrous ammo pool sizes. Go up to like 700 in the magazine. It can get pretty funny. Overall though, it's a weapon that exists. Let's show some brief in mission gameplay, but not like too much of it. I think I'll go ahead and show it with the corrosive setup, right? That's just the easiest overall that most people will be using. So let's go into the mission. Here we are in the mission, the good old classical Mott survival, everybody's favorite. And if it's not your favorite, then that's your own problem. Sounds like a personal problem. Got him. Dude, Nautilus is insane. Do you see this? The blender of death is ridiculous. Kind of cheating just a tad bit, I guess, but we have it here because A, I love Nautilus. And B, we need some viral application. I guess it could have gone Pans of Opophyla, so we weren't cheating with the death blender, but it still shows like that it can do damage, right? It's the Supra. It's a weapon capable of doing base steel path. High steel path, probably not, or at least not without some outside buffs, but base steel path, it can manage. I would sell my left nut and 3 of the toes on my right foot to get a Tenet version of the Supra. That would be so cool. Tenet Supra. I don't know what they would do with it to make it like fancier, because I don't think I would want just a straight stat increase. That's not as fun. Maybe like mag size goes from 300 to 500. A stat increase like 30% crit chance instead of the measly 16. And then I don't know what else would be interesting. Maybe like forced cold procs or something like that. That would be pretty cool. Here's the Acolyte. Let's see if we can actually kill the Acolyte in less than 5 years with this weapon. I mean, it would be better if I like actually knew how to aim. That would probably help a lot. Okay, now I just can't. What? Now I'm not damaging him at all. What's happening? Poppy's throwing a tad bit here. Well, I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I wasn't getting damage numbers on him. Can I damage him now? Yes. Why am I so bad at this game? Guys, why am I so bad at this game? Guys, it's fine. It makes it more relatable. See, he died. And there's the death blender is still going. Holy fuck. This is apparently just a Nautilus showcase. Every video is a Nautilus showcase nowadays. Look at that. Anyways, that's crazy. Let's go back to the orbiter. Oh, whoa. Back in the orbiter. Doo-doo-da-dee-doo. I don't know why I say it like that. I think I'm just like, you know, I got a bit of that tism, if you know what I mean. Closing thoughts. Thoughts that close. That's my closing thoughts on this weapon. It is a gun, and it shoots, and it also can do damage to stuff if you want it to, and or make it. More importantly, Hildren is extremely hot, and her booty and muscle-bound body makes me very happy. Yes, that is the weapon. Please give us Tenet Supra DE anytime this year. Anyways, yes, that's it. If you liked the video, leave a like, subscribe. If you want me to do a weapon in or something, weapon, Warframe build, anything. If you have something you want me to do, leave it in the comments below. If you left a comment previously about something and I forgot about it, I'm sorry. Leave it again, spam it, send like 10 comments of the same thing, then I won't forget it. Adios.